Hello all you people out there in TV land. My name is CB Studios, also known as Kurt, and in front of me today is a mask you guys have seen before. It is the 2011 Collector's Edition. This is a glow ultra white mold of Ghostface mask. We do have a replica tag on top, but this is a gorgeous Ghostface mask. They've got that really nice loose weave hood. It's almost like a cheesecloth hood. They've got the really nice mold of mask. And they've become really sought after, especially since the 25th anniversary masks have come out, which you can see over there. And they've become really popular. These guys have become really sought after. This type of mask came out with a bunch of different molds for the face, but the one that we're talking about today is the ultra white mold. This is actually the style of hood that I use to pattern my own custom 25th anniversary style Ghostface mask, which I've got a video down in the description for that one. It's been on the channel for many years. And my friend Jacob actually shared with me pictures of his collector's edition Ghostface mask. And it's heartbreaking. The reason I say it's heartbreaking is I've actually got it here and we're going to do a restoration on it. So this is a build video on a Ghostface mask. But I've already taken the liberties of cutting it free from its shroud. And you're going to be like, why have you cut it free from its shroud? Well, we have this really nice glow ultra white mold of mask. It's got some yellowing, so we're going to give it a clean up as well. I'm going to probably replace this elastic strap as well because it's pretty gone, but it does glow and it does look really nice. But unfortunately, I think the story goes that a younger relative of his took scissors to the shroud, and that's what we've got left. This was an official Collector's Edition shroud, and it's fucking gone. I'm pretty certain I can resurrect this. Now, I'm not going to use this existing hood. I'm not going to use any of the original parts from this hood because it's just too far gone. I am, however, going to put its original tag back on. Yeah, it's an original tag. Very nice. And we are going to use as much of the original mask as possible. I've already cleaned off the excess stitching. We're going to give it a clean up and stitch him in. But, I need fabric to be able to do this. Where am I going to find fabric that matches this? In Halloween of 2022, my local Big W, very much like Kmart or Walmart in the United States, had this. It's a weird pumpkin Grim Reaper thingy. It's got a button here. That's kind of cool. It's really fucking annoying. But I didn't buy it because it was cool and annoying. In fact, and I'll do some close-ups before I show you, but there's a whole lot of this exact same fabric. It is practically identical. It is exactly the same sort of weave, the same sort of weight. It's the same shade of black. It looks utterly perfect. Now, I bought 2 of these on clearance. I'm going to keep one intact. And I've got a bunch of fabric that I can use from one of these to make a new hood. All I need to do is pull my pattern out of storage and get to cutting. I think that's going to work perfectly. Alright, so we have all of our parts of our masks. We've got my original reference mask there and the original pieces. And that's all of our fabric. Now, our fabric does have hot glue remnants on it from where it was attached to its original Halloween prop, so we've just got to make sure to avoid those, lay the fabric out flat, and avoid any of the rough edges and tears as we go through and lay out the pattern. We want to try and maximize the amount of fabric that we have to work with, and unfortunately, because this was an original Halloween prop, that can be a little bit difficult. You can see my paper patterns here. They're just drawn on waxed butcher's paper, and they were patterned off my original 2011 shroud. So I'm laying them out flat and using a tool called a chalk wheel. It's basically a little pen with a rotating wheel on the end, and it draws out a chalk line onto the fabric so I know where to cut. And I'm drawing around the outside of this, making sure to keep about 1 centimeter on all sides just for some seam allowance. That means that when I go through to stitch it and overlock the edges, we're not going to have any issues of the shroud turning out too small, which can happen. From here, you're just going to see me repeat that process for all of our pieces. You're going to see me cut them all out and just lay them off to the side, making sure that I've got all of the pieces that I need to assemble this shroud. It's really simple to do. It is basically just tracing and cutting, but this stage is very important to making sure that everything looks right and it tries to match the original shroud as much as possible. Thankfully, Jacob is pretty forgiving when it comes to these sort of things, and you can't get much worse than the original shroud condition, so that makes it a little bit easier on me. I don't have to be quite as dainty with it. I will, however, say that I did make some mistakes while assembling this, and that's par for the course with this. I've never used this fabric before, and these sort of shrouds, while fairly straightforward, aren't the easiest to make. So, I'm gonna stop narrating over the top of this, because I'm sure you guys are all sick of my voice. Thumbs up for that, but we will continue on, and you can watch the process go. Here I'm doing the strips of fabric to make the shroud. Now I've actually got this fabric doubled over, so not only am I cutting through 2 layers of fabric, I'm actually going to be cutting through 4. That's because this shroud needs to have an outside and an inside, and a left side and a right side. You'll see that a lot, especially with the 25th anniversary masks. The shrouds are made in quite a similar way. Not exactly the same, but fairly close, and that gives it that really nice thick dwarf shroud around the outside. It's a very cool aspect to these hoods that I really like. Now we're done cutting, we can lay all the pieces out and make sure we have everything we need, and we're about to get to stitching. You'll see me using an overlocker to stitch this fabric up, and it kind of knits the edges together and stops them from fraying quite so much. It doesn't solve the issue of the fabric shredding, but it'll certainly help, and means the seams won't rip through quite so quickly. Alrighty, and so we are assembled. We have the majority of the shroud done. You can see my original on the left there. The overall proportions do match. Next up, we'll be making this small bib insert and stitching that into the hood once we've overlocked it, matching what we have on the 2011. We're then going to pull this face off. It's just pinned in the moment. We're going to wash it with some soap and water and try and clean it. Try and reduce some of that yellowing and make it look a little nicer. So now we're at the cleaning stage. And this is really simple. It's just hand soap and some warm soapy water and a soft scrubbing brush. And we're just using that to try and agitate any of the dirt out of the mask, making sure to get the eye mesh down into any of the nooks and crannies and try and clean off as much debris as possible. Alright, so that mask is now nice and clean. We're going to replace this stretched out elastic, and I've actually got a piece of elastic from an ultra white. So it's a little bit thicker, but it's that original Fun World goodness. So that'll make things really nice. We're going to trim and stitch in the bib into this mask as well, just so that the shroud's already in place for us to stitch that in. And I don't have video of me stitching the face into this mask, because it's super fucking awkward to do. But here we go. Final steps. Just some slight tweaking to get everything to sit correctly, overlocking the edges, and we're done. There we go. Now I know that this video wasn't a comprehensive tutorial, but that's not really the point of this video. I've been meaning to do this project for Jacob for quite a while now, and I figured that I'd just video it because, well, it's really interesting to see how these can be resurrected. Now, as you can see, this one's a little bit shorter and the pattern is slightly different. There's just stuff that goes wrong while working with these sort of things, and it's a little bit more of an art than a science, so it's not flawless, but should Jacob be unhappy with it, I'm more than happy to redo any of the work that needs to be done. Not that it really needs it, but ultimately, as a display piece, this thing looks leagues better than it did when I received it. It now has that full pointy shroud. It's got the nice skirting around the bottom. It looks fantastic. I'm going to throw it on a foam head, and you guys can have a look at the finished product. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I know it's a little bit of a weird one today, and you had to deal with a lot of my voiceover, but hey, I like listening to me talk, so I'm fairly certain you guys would probably enjoy hearing me talk too. Otherwise, it sucks to be you. You have to hear the sound of my own voice whenever you watch these. Thanks very much for watching, guys, and until next time, don't throw out your busted masks. Fix them.